It's that time of year again, when the video games industry converges on Los Angeles for the world's biggest celebration of all things video games, the Electronic Entertainment Expo, or E3 for short.
These days, E3 is a chunk of sensory overload that hits Los Angeles Convention Center once a year in a dazzling display of sound and vision, open only to members of the games industry and the media. 2016 marks the 22nd Expo, but they haven't all fit this mould.
20-odd years ago, video games didn't get much time in the spotlight. They were simply part of the tech that was on display at events like the European Computer Trade Show or the Consumer Electronics Show. Major new releases were shown off alongside hard drives, personal computers, and the latest in CRT monitors, just one more thing in the sea of tech.
Some people thought that games had outgrown the electronics shows and deserved more attention in their own right. By the mid-90s, video games were given their own special, separate space at the Consumer Electronics Show. But this wasn't enough. The team at IDG, publishers of magazine Infotainment World, got together with the Interactive Digital Software Association, known these days as the Entertainment Software Association, and announced the first E3 for May 1995.
The first event was huge, with more than 65,000 square metres of exhibit space and more than 48,900 attendees.
It didn't take long for the new trade show to prove itself as the place to be for any major games-related announcements. The second event, also held in Los Angeles, saw Microsoft announcing that Windows was for gamers, while Nintendo enlisted a little help from Cirque du Soleil as it unveiled its latest console, the Nintendo 64.
1996 in LA gave us our first look at games like Crash Bandicoot, Tomb Raider, Resident Evil and StarCraft, but 1997 in Atlanta, Georgia was the year of the Doom clone, with first-person shooters popping up at every turn. We were shown the original Unreal, Half-Life, Quake 2, Daikatana, Metal Gear Solid, and the unexpected hit of the show, GoldenEye 007.
And in case you thought esports were a modern invention, E3 1997 also hosted one of the world's first offline esports competitions, the Red Annihilation Quake Tournament.
Skip forward to 1998 and Sega was getting ready to launch the Dreamcast console and invited a select handful of guests behind closed doors to show off the impressive graphics capabilities of the new machine.
Sega bring you your key to interactive multiplayer gaming. Get a life and get a Dreamcast. Dreamcast is the most powerful games console in the world's history, and it's the only games console that brings you into the world of online gaming, emailing, and worldwide web surfing. Its unrivaled 128-bit technology leaps ahead of current systems in terms of graphics, speed, and pure, unadulterated gameplay.
It was the first of the 6th generation consoles and could handle complex graphics with ease. The Dreamcast really was the console of the future.
On the game side of things, all eyes were on The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. The FPS hype was still chugging along, with gamers treated to early glimpses of both Duke Nukem Forever and the eagerly anticipated Half-Life. The genre's day in the sun would come in 1999 when E3 returned to Los Angeles and showed off 2 new games from the creators of Doom, John Romero's Daikatana and John Carmack's Quake 3. Looking back, it's almost funny that we thought Daikatana had a chance.
1999 also saw the grand unveiling of Nintendo's Dolphin, that is, the codename for the GameCube, shown alongside Donkey Kong 64 and Perfect Dark. The unreleased console was impressive enough, but it paled in comparison to Sega's Dreamcast.
By the next year, Nintendo had decided not to show how the console had progressed, focusing instead on software, putting Conker's Bad Fur Day in the spotlight.
Probably good, as Sony was playing the PlayStation 2 card by then, set for release by the end of 2000 at an appropriate price point and with a whole stack of games.
That said, the highlight of E3 2000 came from Konami, who completely ruined the flow of traffic on the expo hall by hosting a 5-minute clip from Metal Gear Solid 2 every hour on the hour.
こちらスネーク、聞こえるか、オタコン。あ、僕だよスネーク。聞こえる？待たせたな。スニークポイントに到着。シャドウモセス事件の後、メタルギアの技術情報がブラックマーケットで密売されたよね。それで全世界にメタルギアの亜種が拡散した。今や各武装国にとってメタルギアは特別な兵器ではない。今回の新型はそれらに対抗するために設計されたものらしい。俺たちは新型メタルギアが極秘裏に輸送されるという情報を掴んだ。今思えば疑うべきだった。 化した。これから私も戦争が
E3 2000 marked a bit of a turning point for the convention, coming just 6 months after the Columbine school shootings, which had been linked to video games such as Doom. The event was much less focused on first-person shooters than it had been in previous years, and attendees had to walk past protesters to get to the show.
However, by 2001, it was back to business as usual, with another year heavy on the hardware. The Nintendo GameCube and Game Boy Advance were overdue. The Microsoft's new Xbox didn't actually work in a number of demonstrations. Sega's Dreamcast was on its way out, and nobody played games on PC anymore.
There was a clear winner. By 2002, with more than 30 million PlayStation 2s in the wild, Sony announced that the console wars were over and that no other console could go close. They were partly right. 14 years later, the PS2 is still the world's most popular gaming machine, but that didn't stop the usual suspects from continuing to fight.
But while we'd seen E3s dominated by single publishers, consoles, or titles in the past, 2002 was something different. 2002 was simply Doom 3. It was the first new Doom in nearly a decade, and we'd been hearing about it for years. John Carmack had been hyping us up with mentions of dynamic lighting, and excitement was at an all-time high. We were not disappointed.
Up after the break, the next big wave of console releases, the murky years of the E3 Media and Business Summit, the E for All, and the grand return to form of 2009.